Tonight on Eyewitness News at 10, severe storms causing chaos in parts of southern New England.
News Chopper 12 flying over Acushnet. A powerful microburst uproots trees, brings down branches, and knocks down power lines, leaving thousands in the dark.
Now here's a look at the damage from the ground. Whipping winds as powerful as 100 miles an hour causing quite a mess. We have live pinpoint weather team coverage tonight.
Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca has more on the storm, and Joan Moran has the latest on the cleanup.
But first, let's get right to Walt Buteau with more from the National Weather Service. Walt?
Well, right now, the big concern here is when will the electricity go on? This is Main Street in Acushnet. It's not ever a busy Main Street. It's a small town, but there's normally lights on in houses up and down this street. And right now, no lights are on as everyone waits for NSTAR to get the power back on. And we have one of many branches, hundreds of branches here, and the Weather Service is not only focusing on the number of branches, but also the exact way that they were twisted off the trees.
Just went, this tree went down.
June White's lived here 51 years. She saw the flagpole fall first, then the trees, from her backyard to her campground behind the pond.
All the trees are down, there's like 20 of them. Snapped and broken.
From Mattapoisett to across Acushnet, the deeper you go into the woods, the worse it gets.
All of a sudden you hear cracking and booming. I went to shut one of the windows and just slammed the whole side of the house.
And you counted how many trees?
About 25.
We caught up with the Weather Service as investigators focused on this path of damage through the pines.
I'm looking for the path of the damage, how long it was, the width. And are we looking at trees that were twisted around on top of each other? Am I looking at damage that goes in a straight line?
Despite all the battered bark, you can still see signs of what the storm spared. And of course, the storm spared people. No one injured, at least no reports of injuries. But again, people waiting for the power to be restored, and there will be a lot of chainsaws buzzing here starting early in the morning. Live with the Southeastern Massachusetts Mobile Newsroom in Acushnet, Walt Buteau, Eyewitness News.
This severe storm leaving behind a widespread path of destruction in Acushnet. Just take a look at that damage. Roads and yards littered with tree limbs, branches, and down power lines. Eyewitness News reporter Joan Moran continues our live pinpoint weather team coverage. Joan?
Aaron, it really is something to see, almost like confetti. Small bits of trees still line this part of Main Street. It is incredible here. We're right now near the Highlander restaurant. The storm is over, as we all know. The focus right now on the cleanup and, of course, the damage assessment.
It's just total destruction.
Lots of hail. The hail basically sliced all the screens.
We just hope we can clean everything up.
It was about 3:30 when the storm blew in here on Acushnet's Main Street. Trees knocked down in the 3 to 4 mile stretch. Most homes spared, but not Harold Westgate's. One came right through his bay window. I would imagine this is one of your chairs that you are comfortable.
Luckily nobody was sitting here. Oh, they'd been impaled.
Chainsaws working overtime, trying to clear the trees. The microburst ripped out of the ground behind Mary Tripp's historic home.
The home is still standing, yes. They blew a couple windows in, and we had quite a bit of water.
When it was over, neighbors remembered the sights and the sounds.
Tell me what you heard, what you saw.
We saw white and we heard wind. That was about it. Otherwise, it was so fast.
This big tree closed down the street. As crews tried to repair power lines, folks walked around surveying the damage in disbelief. But even Harold felt fortunate.
Nobody got hurt, so that's what insurance companies are for.
That is absolutely correct. Now, technology helping out today in a big way. Officials telling us they actually sent out reverse 911 messages to neighbors telling them to stay away from streets like this. Main Street, part of Main Street closed for a good part of the day. The folks, as Walt was saying, still waiting for power here at the Highlander restaurant where they have a 16th birthday party going on. No power, working only on generator. No word tonight on when that power will be restored. We're live tonight in Acushnet with the Mobile Newsroom. I'm Joan Moran, Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Joan. Utility crews are working to get power flowing to everyone tonight. We just checked with NSTAR, which tells us 1,000 customers are still in the dark at this hour. Most of those are in New Bedford and Acushnet. Utility crews are still out making repairs right now.
It seems that not a week goes by where we don't have some type of wild weather popping up in Rhode Island. Along with whipping winds and soaking rains, today's microburst created a large chunk of hail here and there. Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca is in the live pinpoint dot of the 12 forecast, and with more on what a microburst is. Tony?
You're right, Steve. I mean, it's been an incredible summer for localized, damaging thunderstorms. Not all areas had the severe weather today. In fact, 80% of the area, it was actually okay. But I want to show you southeastern Massachusetts one more time. And based on our Weather Watcher reports, the damage path, and this was based on aerial pictures from News Chopper 12 and from Weather Watchers, that red zone anywhere from north of Acushnet to Acushnet and out towards the Mattapoisett area. We can actually show you the Doppler radar rewind, and just before 4 o'clock this afternoon, that cluster of strong, damaging thunderstorms that came through right there. Now, there are two kinds of thunderstorm damage. One from the tornado, which is obvious, a funnel on the ground, but the other more common one is what the Weather Service was talking about, a microburst, what we call straight-line winds. Quite simply, winds at high levels of the atmosphere. Let me try that one more time. But winds at high levels of the atmosphere actually fall out of the bottom of a thunderstorm cloud, and the net result are the winds that blow out in a straight line rather than twisting, and that can almost mimic a tornado in that it looks like a tornado, it sounds like a tornado, but it's not. However, the Weather Service is still analyzing some of its Doppler radar imagery, but for now they're leaning towards this being a microburst, straight line winds. We'll take a closer look at these storms that came through this afternoon, plus the latest on Tropical Storm Faye. It's all coming up in a little bit.
All right, thanks, Tony. And as you know, this isn't the first time a possible tornado has formed in southern New England.
In fact, there have already been 3 similar incidents this summer.
The first happened in the East Bay back on July 24th. The National Weather Service confirmed that an F1 tornado formed off Barrington Town Beach, moving into Massachusetts.
Then, on August 11th, a waterspout formed right over at Dortmund Marina. This snapshot was taken just as the clouds started to reach downward.
And just last week, another water spout formed over Narragansett Bay, giving dozens of boaters who were enjoying a day on the water quite a scare.
And of course, folks at home help us gather those images, so stay with Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of today's severe storm. Tony's going to come back at 10:30 with his updated futurecast, and you can also find viewer pictures like the ones you've just seen and live pinpoint Doppler 12 radar online anytime at foxprovidence.com.
We are following developments